Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. I'm back. It's been a long time. I missed you all. It's so great to see all your names and faces in the chat. Welcome in. Welcome in. Oh, hello, friends, and welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Oh, hello, friends, and welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. We're gonna grow our coding skills one day at a time. We're not afraid to make mistakes or fall out of line. We're gonna break things down, build them back up. We're gonna learn lots of things. It's gonna be really fun. Oh, hello, friends, and welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Oh, hello, friends, and welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome in, everyone. You all are great. I missed you very much. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Hello, hello. So if you saw the stream notification, it's just gonna be a chill stream. I got to get back into it. I'm not used to talking for hours on end, so we got to ease into it. I will be answering questions, so check out vox.coding.garden. There are some chat commands you can run to ask questions. I'm mostly just going to talk to you, the person sitting at home watching this. I'm going to answer your questions. We're going to hang out. And yeah, it feels good to be back. And on brand, I need to plug in my laptop. So, yeah. Everything's all right. I'm good. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. But you have to give me 1 second while I go get my charger, because I only have 9% battery. So, stay where you are. Actually, pick one person in chat and say hello to them. I'll be right back. Hello. How'd it go? Did anybody meet any new friends? Cool. Oh yeah, tons of support. Thank you all for that. I think it was a level 5 hype train. Appreciate you. Thanks, Ched, for the resub. Yaps TV with the resub. DJ McMuffin with the 11 months. Thank you. Nookie Poo with the 20 months. Refactor with the 26 months. Rugmat with 100 bits. Sudoku with the 14 months. Freak Zombie with the 15 months. Nookie Poo with 160 bits. One Computer Guy with the 12 months. Funny Boy Rocks with the 10-month resub. Nookie Poo with 2 gifts. Thank you very much for that. And 100 bits. Bob with the resub. Julian with the 23 months. Coding Tomato with the 11 months. Nookie Poo with the 5 gifts. Thank you very much, Nookie Poo. Thanks for all the supports. Devin with the 15. Pablo with 150 bits. Milo says, last time you went to get the charger, we didn't see you for months. It's true. But I'm back. Shorcy Web, thanks for the 23 months. And Ashley B, thank you for the 10 months. And Pablo, congratulations is in order, who says, I was not married the last time you streamed. Congrats! You're a married person. That's awesome. Hope everything went well, and hope you're enjoying the married life. And George, thank you for that Prime sub. I missed you all. I did, though it was less stressful to not stream because I didn't have to think about what I was gonna do, and I just had a lot more free time. But I'm glad to be back. I love streaming. I want to do it a lot. I'm gonna keep doing it. Yeah. well, welcome in, Ryan. I'm glad you found me, and we're here. Yeah. Were there any other first timers? And Toof, thanks for that tier 1 sub. Lots of first timers. Dwarji, Tommy was Tony, Alexander, Salazar A, Simply Ishu, Issa Hussein, Loy, Ryan the Pro, Paul, Easy Wings again, baby. Thank you. Hello, first timers. Looking refreshed. I feel like I am refreshed, though I have somewhat had trouble sleeping. Not like really trouble sleeping. Like I'm asleep. I'm just not getting restful sleep. And but I've been working on it. And my partner and dog have opted to sleep in the living room as to not disturb me at night, so I can get my rest up, and that's helping. Because for a while I was getting bags under my eyes. I'm old. I'm getting old. I had a birthday while while I was away. Yeah, it's the same camera. I just adjusted the settings and everything. Okay, what do we do? We're gonna do a segment called the Webster's Pocket Computer Dictionary Word of the Day. Oh, that's great. This book is blue and it's not chroma keyed out by my blue screen. Give me a number between 1 and 300. That's the page we'll turn to. Blue book 189. Thank you, iSatisfied. So we're gonna go to page 189. And then you have picked the page that is beyond the dictionary. There's an introduction to personal computers section. And actually, I didn't mention it, but this book is copyright 1997. So there's a bunch of old definitions in here. We'll go with the one after. So Freak Zombie suggested 55. Let's go to page 55. All right, I need a number between 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Number between 1 and 9. 4, says Minacienta. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, this is an interesting one. And I'll tell you why I think it's interesting after I read it. Today's word of the day is destination. Let's do that again, because I'm going to clip it for like a YouTube short or something. YouTube shorts seem to be a thing. I'm going to try to get into that. Like 30-second videos. Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden, and welcome to the Webster's Pocket Computer Dictionary from 1997 Word of the Day. Today's word of the day on page 55 is destination. A data file, directory, computer, or peripheral device to which data is being transmitted. Destination. That's cool. I think it's an interesting word because we use destination in not the computer world. This has to do with computers. A data file, directory, computer, or peripheral device to which data is being transmitted. Great. So now your job in the chat is to use the word destination in a sentence before the end of the stream. Destination unknown. That's a good song. Cool. And that's been the Webster's Pocket Computer Dictionary from 1997 Word of the Day. Thanks for watching. Okay, that was fun. We're getting back into the swing of things. We have 5 questions already. Yeah, I'll go ahead and start answering questions. Actually, you have to use the word destination in a computer sense, right? But I want to say hi to everybody. It's been a long time since I did that, and I stopped doing it for a while because there's so many people tuned in. But I'm going to give it my best shot, and I'm going to remind you all how good I am at pronouncing your names on the spot. But Veritatis attempted to use the word destination in a sentence. I want a destination-themed wedding. As Clat also said, the programming is my life destination. Okay. Thanks for the hugs. Apu Contilde? Apu Contilde? All right, here we go. We're going to say hi to everybody. If you'd like me to say hello to you, you can say any one of these things that would match this regular expression, and I will acknowledge you. And we're going to go in order of who was here first. Starting with... Well, not who was here first. Who was the first person to say hello? And it was DHugh52. Hello, friend. Thanks for being here. All right, take a deep breath. Hello, Yaps TV and Freitaz and Apu Contilde and X Palma and Rugmat and Ryan Roga and Dwarji and Farshid and Usnaim Odan and Olaf and hello, the Dobbler and Auto Magic. and one computer guy. It's good to see you. What's up, Soldek and Namaste Geek and ZRT and Nookie Poo and Funny Boy Rocks and Tommy was Tony and Demarika and Crafty Becky and Katoli and Amur and Descartes and Alexander and Root Privilege. Hello, Veritatas and Salazar and Midas on Earth and Kalugla and Azrael and Ashley B and Loige and Freak Zombie and Skilled Arrange and Ched Dev and Inadequate Dev and George and Johnny Drama and Kevin Evans. I almost said Kenny Evans. Hello, Me Not Santa, and The Mixed, and Steven Saggy Ball, and Hacks, and Scuba Steve, and what's up, Samu, and Age Monkey, and Nasu Poisif. Hello. What's up, Jonah Joe? And Dracanuus. Hello, hello. And what's up, Lumaraz, and Seven Hero, and I'd Get in Sequel Gordster. Hello, thanks for being here. What's up, Shecky, and DevM, and Fun Planet, and Tangchanka, and Muzo Potato. We've done it. That's it. What's up, Osclot, as well. Welcome in. How many other streamers do you know that can say that many names that fast and get the pronunciations pretty good, you know? Programming is not about the destination, but it's about the journey. I guess I agree with that, sort of. I don't know. Let's answer some questions. So if you want to ask questions, you can type !Vox in chat. That'll give you a link to a website. Once you go to that website, you'll see there are some chat commands that you can run, and that will add a question into the queue. You only watch me, so I mean that's still number one if you only watch me. Cool. Let's look at what questions we got. I'll answer any easy ones first, and then we'll maybe dive into some more programming related ones. And Apu Contilde says, how have these weeks/months treated you? Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Like I said, I've been trying to catch up on sleep. I've been working on my van. I've been working on my house, around the house. I've been making a lot of music. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Yeah, I'll answer this. Okay, Key Gang says, I remember you saying that you would be back streaming about middle of May. How come you took longer? I just kept not wanting to stream. But I'm back, and I don't plan on taking another 2-month vacation from stream for a while. So, I mean, yeah, the main reason is because I didn't want to. Yeah. Cool. I'll answer this one really quick. Does your van have a mobile workstation? My van is a work in progress. So, I mean, I got it years ago and, like, partially built out the inside because it's a conversion van. I'm turning it into a camper. But that's the idea, is that I'd be able to live and work in it. So it will have a mobile workstation. There'll be power, place to use my my computer and everything else. Cool. All right. First coding question from Paul Collar, who says, have you tried Nux 3, and is it worth it? I haven't tried Nux 3. I haven't done a lot of Nux development. I guess I'm curious what has changed in Nux Release 3. We'll look at this blog article to see what has changed, but I haven't tried it. That's my answer to that. Once again, the destination file could not be found. That's a good one, Terminal Logic. You've done it. I think I saw one from Bob as well. Yeah, I used destination in a sentence, but chat moved too fast. Come on. And thank you, Crafty Becky. I appreciate that. Need a PC to program and play a few games. What spec would you recommend? Just need a decent graphics card and a good amount of RAM. RAM is probably one of the most important things. And then if you're playing games, like, depending on the game, a graphics card is important. It has auto component imports. That's pretty cool. Oh, so yeah, I guess Nux 3 is now supporting like the composition API and stuff like that. Is that the deal? Let's read into it. A new foundation, Vue 3 and TypeScript. Vue 3 has been the new default for 3 months, bringing better performance, the composition API, and TypeScript support. Next 3 builds on these improvements to provide a great Vue 3 experience with first-class server-side rendering support. So it's been rewritten in TypeScript. That's cool. So there's a lot of extra typed stuffs out the box. And now Vite is the default bundler. Very interesting. But you still can use Webpack. They left support in for that. That's cool. So Nux 3 supports Vite and Webpack. All right. Cool. Nitro. I don't know what Nitro is. One of the major features of Nux 3 is its new server engine, Nitro. Oh, is it the server-side rendering engine? Build and deploy universal JavaScript servers. Cool. So it's using Nitro. They've unified some tools. Plugins get automatically imported. Components get automatically imported. Cool. Seems fun. We'll have to try it out sometime. I don't know if I want to try it today, but it seems cool. I think there's lots of cool stuff in there that it would be fun to try out on stream. Am I still a Vue fanboy? Yeah. I mean, by the definition of the word, I guess I am a fanboy, but I describe it more, or I think about it more as like I'm a lazy developer. I want to write less code. And I don't want any weird functional programming stuff if it doesn't need to be. So that's why I use Vue. But yeah, I still love Vue. I mean, honestly, I don't think I maybe wrote like a little bit of Vue over the past 2 months, but Vue is still, nothing's changed. Vue is still great. No, really, look further. Oh, I thought that was the joke. I thought that was the joke. But you actually had another sentence? Type your desired destination in the browser's address bar. That's a good one. That's the best one I've read in the chat. Great work. Let's take a quick stretch. I was about to exit out of the break timer. Ooh. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I just took a break just to take a break. It's good to take a break every now and then. I mean, I talked about it a lot on stream a while back. Like, I was definitely burnout from work and everything else in life. So, it was good to take a break. What front-end dev blogs do I recommend to subscribe to? I don't really subscribe or read any blogs. I found this website not too long ago, and it's really cool. It's Best of JS. And then there's the JavaScript newsletter. Is it JavaScript Weekly? Yeah, I think this is it. And then JavaScript Weekly does like a roundup of all that stuff. So check them out. A lot more supports. George, thanks for the 17 months. Toof with the 18 months. Pablo with the 19 months. Mike Broody with the 20 months, who says, your streams make everyone's days brighter. Well, thank you. Leet Geek with the 14 months. Okay, Not Now with the 23 months. Says, wow, glad to see you again. Thanks for being here. Cool. Have I tried Gitpod? I think like in passing. I don't think I've tried it on stream. Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of, like, what's it called? It's server-side rendering, but not all the time. It's server-side rendering when it makes sense to be, and then any other time it behaves as a single-page application. Like, that's how Nux.js works. So, yeah, I'm a fan of that, for sure. What's up, Delta Time? Thanks for being here. And Avi, thanks for being here. Hello. Hello, JZ Chaos. What's up? You're the reason I have a stretch timer on my laptop. Nice. I gotta get used to using it more again. Any idea how to use Stripe to charge users for features in a Chrome extension? I think your users of your extension would need to have an account, obviously, if you're going to charge them. And then accounts have different roles or privileges. So you have like your basic user account, and if it is a basic user, they can't use certain features. But if that user is a paying user, then they can use certain features. I think you would architect it like a normal application with users and privileges. Does the Chrome Web Store allow that to happen? I've never really even heard of a premium extension, but that's how I would do it. I would just do it like I would any other app. What books What about books? Any you recommend in the coding software engineer universe? I've talked about it in the past. I mean, probably the cliche answer and the one that you get from everyone is the Pragmatic Programmer. But I highly recommend it. This is not only how to be a good programmer, it's really just like how to be a good teammate and a good person. So that's why I recommend that book. Yeah. Production is not the destination. User experience is. Okay. You can't make a user pay for a Chrome extension, but the extension itself can have in-app purchases. Oh, okay. Yeah. Then yeah, that would work. that would work. All right, let's keep going. Have I worked on a mono repo? This question comes from Sha. Have I worked on a mono repo? What build tool did you like? So I have, and I used Lerna.js. This was almost 2 years ago that I used this, so I don't know what the latest and greatest is, or if there are other projects out there that people prefer. Let me know in chat. Do you use mono repos, and what tool do you use to manage it? So I've used Lerna. I know there's Yarn workspaces, so if you just use Yarn, it has the ability to do workspaces, which I don't think is exactly mono repo-ish, but it can be used for that. I've never heard of Turbo Repo by Versal. Turbo Repo is a high-performant build system for JavaScript and TypeScript codebases with fast incremental builds, content-aware hashing, remote caching. Cool. I mean, pretty much anything Versal puts out is awesome, so definitely check it out. NRWL. Narwhal? I don't know what NRWL is. They took over Lerna. Cool. Yeah, so Avi's talking about extensions, and then when you're debugging an extension, I think WebX deploy like helps you debug it. Browser market submission. Oh, and then you can with this you can submit to multiple stores at a time. That's cool. Yeah. So yeah, check out Turbo Repo. I haven't used it, but it seems cool. There's Yarn workspaces, and then I only have experience with Lerna. Thanks for the question. Katoli asks, what's your favorite book? Not necessarily about programming. I don't read a lot. I barely read anything. There's a book by Bill Bryson. He's written a lot of books. It's the one about like the history of, a short history of nearly everything. I would say this is one of my favorite books. Yeah. How has your dog? Been a while seeing you. My dog's doing great. He gets to go for lots of walks. We take him to the dog park. He's great. Yeah. And if you want to see a video of him, you can check that clip out. And then also we have some emotes of him. His name is Panzer. You can pet the Panzer too. Like that. Cool. Have I tried Remix? What do I think about it? No, I haven't. I think we talked about it in the Best of JS stream that we did a few months ago. Remix JS. It's just like a different way of doing things that isn't Next.js. So it seems fine. Though I know that there are there like paid features or something like that? Or it used to be paid and then it went open source? I don't know. I haven't tried it. I know of it, and I know that it's like Next, and I think we'll try it eventually. Yeah, so it used to be paid. Cool. Yeah, I was going to... Actually, let's do this. This will be our first actual coding of the stream. So Ryan has a question. I'm trying to fuzzy search a bunch of JSON data I scraped using Puppeteer recently. I'm wondering if I need to roll my own, if I want to search for 2 specific words or phrases like degree in computer science. Ryan, give me a link to a gist.github.com. Give me a link to a gist that has your example JSON inside of it, and I'll show you how to do it. But yeah, Ryan asked this in the Discord, and I was going to respond like right before stream started. But I figured it'd be fun to do it on stream, so we'll do that. Why is React less than Vue? Not less than. And I don't really even think about it like it's better. To me, it makes more sense. It requires less code, and there are more things that are just built in that you don't have to write from scratch. Also, there's not a lot of like Vue-specific concepts, whereas in React, there are a lot of React-specific concepts. Some people might argue with me on that point because they talk about like there's directives in Vue and you have to learn all the directives, but there's maybe like 5 or 6 of them. There are things in React that are very React-specific that you have to learn and do, and Vue is just more general purpose, so that's why I like Vue more. But I've probably written more React code in my life than I've written Vue code. Was this in general help? Yeah, no. Back end help. Front end help. Yeah, and I think that's the other thing you have to think about, like when you're comparing the two, like no one just uses React. There's always other stuff. Like for the longest time, it was almost always paired with Redux. These days, there are other state management tools, and you could use like the context API and what's the other thing? Like use reducer and stuff like that. So, but like that's another thing, like another reason why I prefer Vue, and it's more about the Vue ecosystem and building apps than it is like the library itself. Because with React, there are so many different options, and every React code base you jump into was probably doing something different than the last React code base you were in. Now, some people might see that as a positive. There's lots of developer expression. You can do it the way that you like to do it. You can express yourself as a developer. But with Vue, it's pretty much all the same. So you don't have to jump between all that different stuff. Okay, let's make a directory for JSON search, and we'll write some code. So I'm going to put this into a file called data.json. And let's take a look at it. So this question comes to us from Ryan, who says, I'm trying to fuzzy search a bunch of JSON data I scraped using Puppeteer. I'm wondering if I need to roll my own, if I want to search for 2 specific words or phrases. I will show you 2-ish ways of doing it, but basically we have an array, and then that array has a bunch of objects in it. Each one of those objects has details, and I guess these job postings. They look like job postings, but they have various detail objects, and I think the main thing that Ryan is trying to do is, at least what he mentioned in Discord, is he's trying to find any objects in this so it's one big array with a bunch of objects in it. So he wants to find any objects where the details section has an object of employment requirements, and then employment requirements details section matches 2 or more specific terms. Oh, no worries, Ryan, no worries. So they're looking for educational requirements to match a given diploma or degree. So we have employment requirements. Where is education requirements? Is that just listed in the employment requirements? It's in the employment requirements. Okay, so ultimately that's the code challenge that we have. We have this array with a bunch of objects in it, and we want to find the objects where some nested object and then a nested array matches a specific term or regular expression. So, and Ryan is saying if it has educational requirements, they will be in there. Not all requirements have any education criteria. Okay, so can you give me an example of one that does have educational requirements? Oh, I see. Because details is an array of items, and then one of those items would have like degree in it or something like that. Yeah, a bachelor's degree in commerce, a master's degree in business administration. So really, we could match the ones that say the word degree. Let's do that. That'll be the first thing we do, and then we can adjust it from there. So we want to find the object where that nested array in the nested string has the word degree inside of it. Let's start. I'm just going to create an index.js file. Because we're in node.js, I can just straight up require in that JSON file. So now we have it, and then we can use it. So if I run my code, cannot find data. Oh, I have to do a relative path. So look in this directory and grab the JSON file. There we go. So we can get it all. Awesome. Some of them are masters or bachelors, so just degree or diploma, and computer science or business is a few examples. Yeah. So, and Zokun is saying no love for the self-taught. Well, think about it in the reverse. What if we want to filter out all of the jobs that have a degree requirement so that we can find the ones that don't require a degree? That's another thing we could do here. Okay, so I'm going to pull up what he mentioned in Discord because it's syntax highlighted and stuff. So first of all, we'll write a function. So we'll say get items with requirement match. And you pass in a string to match against. Or you probably could even pass in a regular expression. Let's just say we're passing in a string. And so we would want to do something like this, call items, and then we would say get items that require a match. And in this case, we're just going to search for the word degree as an example. So now let's actually code the thing. So each of our objects looks like this, and then it has a details property, which is what we're actually going to search. So what we'll say is, I could have a bunch of like nested for eaches and maps and stuff like that. Let's try to just do it without really anything nested. We'll do it. Yeah, because we could do filter, but the issue with filter is it returns true to get the item. The filter function will return true if we want to include this specific object. But inside of that filter, there's actually going to be like a nested search because we have to search the array for the section that has the name employment requirements. And then we have to search details for the string, for a string that contains the word degree. Yeah, a lot of different ways to go about it. But let's just for each it. So I'm going to say, and we'll do something like this. We'll say the found items is going to be an empty array. And each time we find an item that matches, we're going to push it into that array. And now we're just going to look at each individual item. And what can I call these things, Ryan? I'm calling them items, but are they job postings? What are these items? What if you don't parse each object and save it as a string? Yeah, so that's going to be option 2, but I'm going to show how to do it the property-ish and JavaScript-y way. But yeah, so this is going to be option 1 is like search actual properties. The other option is stringify each object and regex it because you can basically take that object, turn it into a string, and then just match a specific term. Now you can't be sure that you're only matching against like this property here. Well, you could go about it both ways. But yeah, let's call these job postings. We'll call these matched postings. And instead of get items, we'll say get job postings with requirement match. And now for each job posting, we want to do some more searching. So we want to say job posting dot details, because details is going to be this array. And actually, we want to find the specific section that has the name employment requirements. So we're going to put that in a variable. So we'll say employment requirements is going to be job posting dot details dot find, and we want to find the specific detail where the detail dot section is equal to employment requirements. Is that the right property name? Yeah. So this is an array of objects, and we want to find this one specific object. At this point, let's just make sure we have that specific one. So I'm going to run this code, and it looks like we've done it. So now for all those thousands and thousands of objects, we're picking out this one specific section that we care about. And so now that we have this specific section, we want to search this array for any string that has the given term inside of it. So let's say matched details. And this is going to be employment requirements dot details. So details is the array. And this I will use a filter on, because that's going to give us each individual detail. And then we want to filter the given details. So we'll say where detail matches a regular expression with the match that we're looking for, and we'll make it global and case insensitive. And so now we have matched details. Let's see what we get. So if there are no matches, it's an empty array. But if there is a match, we get to see that one specific one, right? And so at this point, I really just want to keep track of this job posting if match details has a length greater than 0. So at this point, I'll just say if matched details dot length is greater than 0, then now the found postings will get that one specific posting. Like this. And at this point, we should find and get back all postings that have degree in their listed requirements. So here we go. This is giving us back the overall object that matches that one specific term. So this has mostly done it, and it actually would be really easy to turn this for each into a filter, because you'll notice how this for each is doing a check here and then pushing it if it's found. The way we can just turn this into a filter is we just return this. So we just need to return that, and now we can just do this. We'll say job postings dot filter, and really we can just do this. Those groups are unit groups. Inside each, there are specific job titles. Okay, we'll get there. But let's talk about what I just did there. So we had an array, and then we had a for each where we were doing some logic and then deciding if we should push into that array and then returning the array. Well, a way to do that with less steps or with less code is to use the filter function, because filter, if it returns true, if the function returns true, this specific job posting will show up in the result. So if we do this again, we should get the same results. Great. That's the list I need, the list of jobs inside the... Okay, yeah, so now it gets a little bit trickier. So now, and let's actually look at the data. So is there a section called unit jobs, or where are unit jobs? Illustrative examples? I can confirm that this is 100% not what I was trying to write. This makes so much more sense. Cool. So where is the unit group? How do you find that? First one, illustrative examples. So you want illustrative. You only want this array here. Is that what you want? You only want that array if one of the requirements matches degree. Correct? Okay. And you only care about the array. You don't actually want occupation or knock number or anything like that. You just want this list. And then you're going to grab the unique ones. Just the list. Okay, so the code we've written so far finds objects in this big ol' array of objects. And so for those of you just joining us, this data are essentially job postings. So we have a giant array. There's 30,000 lines in this file. So it's one big array that has a bunch of objects in it. But each one of those objects has a detail section, which is an array of more objects. And then what we care about is the section with the name employment requirements. And it has a details property, which is an array of possible employment requirements. And what we're doing right now is we're finding any overall job posting where the employment requirements match the term that we've passed in. So in this case, we're searching for the word degree, but if we search for like computer science, we could find all postings where computer science is one of the items in the requirements. I am not looking for a job. Thanks for asking, though. So yeah, but okay, so that's what we've done so far. But now, instead of the overall object, what we actually want is just the illustrative examples section. Here. So instead of a filter, because right now we're doing a filter, because a filter takes an array of things and then gives us back an array of only the things that match our given requirements. This is how we're determining what matches the given requirements. But now we don't want the object itself. We want those array of strings. Yeah, and Jifferam, thank you for the 21 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And BTRSL, thank you for the 2 months as well. Oh, congrats! You've rooted 50 machines. Nice. Hopefully they were in a lab and it was all legal. And Optimus Prime, thank you for that Prime. Do you know how to return the longest string? I know how to do a lot of things. We probably could. I don't know if we're gonna do it here. But now I'm actually gonna take this this filter and turn it into a reduce. Let me do this though. So this says, this is find all jobs that match. Cool. Now we're going to do the same thing, but instead of returning the jobs, we want that array of illustrative examples from all of them joined together. So I want to find the section for illustrative examples. And we'll do something like this. We'll say if matchdetails.length. We'll say examples is going to be the details, and we're going to find that given detail where the detail section is equal to illustrative examples. I don't know if anybody mentioned it in chat, but you might be wondering, like, why am I doing the long form arrow function? And the reason is readability, because if I did the shorthand syntax like this, the code is now off of the screen and you cannot see it. So I'm writing it this way for clarity. Oh, I'm glad to hear it, Ryan. Yeah, so Ryan is saying basically we're taking all this data of job postings and going to turn it into a tool that people can use to find job postings that have a specific degree or diploma requirement. Yeah. Okay, so this helps me find the examples section. And then now I just want those specific examples. And so instead of doing a filter, I'm actually going to do a reduce. Actually, before we do the reduce, let's show how to do it without a reduce. And we'll call this all examples. And actually, I'm going to make it a set, because really all we want are the unique ones, right, Ryan? So each of these job postings might have, there might be multiple that says assistant deputy minister as the illustrative example, and we only want that to show up once, right? The if has a semicolon. Did I fix it? Oh, right there. Thank you. Later, I'll look up job outlook data, but correct, they're all unique. Okay, so because they're unique, this makes sense to use a set. A set is a data structure that allows only one of a thing. If you try to add two of a thing, it won't let you. It only allows the unique ones. So we're going to have this set called all examples. And then once we grab those examples, we're just going to add them to the set. So I'll say examples.details. For each example, we want to say all examples dot add that given example. And so now, once we find a job based on the requirements, we are now going to take all of these details and add them to the set for anyone that matched. So if it matched, add all of its details to the set, and then we're done. We're done. So now we'll just have one big ol' set. Yeah, I don't want to return this. We'll have one big ol' set of all of the unique examples. Let's go. Boom. So now I searched for the term computer science, and now I have 132 illustrative examples of the types of jobs that you could apply for based on these job postings if you have a computer science degree. Yeah. Seems fine. Now, again, we're using a for each here. We could turn this into a reduce. Let's turn it into a reduce. So a reduce takes an array of something and turns it into something else. In this case, we're taking an array of job postings and turning it into a set. So we'll do a reduce. In this case, the accumulator is our all examples. And then we just need to return it on every iteration. And the initial value of all examples is a set. So I just do it like this, save it, and then we can return that. So I turn that for each with the set that we're pushing into a function that reduces down to just a set that has all of the unique values in it. There we go. Same result. I missed you too, Gokai. Thanks for being here. So someone asked, can I just do map.unique? I've never seen that before. Is that in JavaScript? Well, actually, I guess it would be array unique. Because if you do map, yeah, I don't think that exists in JavaScript. But either way, that unique, if that did exist, it would have to do a similar thing, and it would have to do a new iteration to do it in. I like this solution because we're basically building up that set as we go, and we don't have to keep like concatenating and then removing duplicates. It just kind of happens all in one go. The other aspect here is we're getting back a set, but if we just want that turned into an array, we can just spread it into an array, and now we have an actual array of strings. Like, oh, well, we can't because our reduce depends on it, but we could spread the overall result, so we could do it like this. Now that looks funny, but now we get an array of strings instead of a set. Spreader. Thoughts on Elixir and Phoenix? I've never used it before. I know it's functional programming of sorts, but yeah, I've never used it. What website is best for entry-level web dev roles? What do you mean? Like a website to learn? What do you mean? For your information, 217 top-level government officials have no diploma, degree, or high school equivalency. That's interesting. In Canada? Is that where you're searching? To get a job. Do you mean like a job posting website? I don't have any advice for that. It's been a long time since I looked for a job, and it's been a long time since I was entry level. So yeah. Cool. So at this point, we've done it. So Kuhn said, this code would have taken me a whole sprint. So at this point, we're only searching like one search term here. Really, it's counting as a regular expression. So we could say like computer science. So we could say IT or computer science maybe, and that might get us some more matches. Yeah, that's got us a lot more matches. I mean, it literally matched just the term IT, though. I don't know what else you would search for, like, or maybe we search for software or computer science. Yeah. Or we can search for degree and computer science, or degree or computer science. Yeah, so if we want to match multiple, then we would probably start to want to pass in multiple arguments. So degree, computer science, 2 separate arguments. And then let's call this matches. And instead of just matching against one, we have to match against multiple. So we'll say matches dot every. So every is a function built into arrays in JavaScript that will return true if the function you pass in returns true for every item in the array. So if we say matches every, and then we'll have to say detail.match and we can actually just take this code here that does it. Cool. So now we're passing in, and actually I guess I would do the rest operator. So you can pass in as many items as you want. And that array is now what we're going to match against. So we iterate over that array, and I basically want to run a regular expression for each one of these. There's probably a way to construct a regular expression that does that for us instead of having to run the regular expression multiple times. I'm not that good with regular expressions. So we're going to look at every one of our things. So we're going to look at degree in computer science. First, we look at degree, and we see, does this detail match? Does this detail have the word degree in it? And if it does, we'll check again, and we'll say, does this detail have the word computer science in it? If it has both of them, then that detail will show up. However, I'll caveat that we're searching each individual item to have both of those things. Let's take a quick break, quick stretch. So, let me explain what that means. So basically, we're looking at, let's say, this big string here, and we're saying, does this string have degree in it? And then if it does, we're going to check, does this string have computer science in it? However, there are scenarios where there are multiple. Let's find one with multiple. Like this. And so, like, this string has degree in it, and then maybe one of the other strings might have computer science in it. That would be a different if statement, because right now we're checking each individual one to have both of them versus checking, do multiple in the array have the 2 different things that I'm looking for. Really, all of your logic now goes here, or yeah, pretty much goes here, and you can decide how you want to match against those things. Yeah, so this is where the code gets complex, because you're matching ands and ors or excluding things that aren't included. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this here, so you can you can do that on your own time. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad I could help. I hope I didn't solve all of it for you. You still have some work to do, but this should get you in the right direction. I think another thing you could do actually is to take this array of strings, join it together, and then run a regular expression on the overall string instead of having to run the regular expression on each individual one. I don't know if that fits the requirements, but like what you technically could do is something like matched details, and then you would say details, let's join it on a space. So now that array of strings becomes one big long string, and then let's call this all details. And then we'll say is match is all details. We'll give me 1 second, and then I'll explain what I'm doing. Like this. There, and then this becomes that. Okay, so now what we've done is we've taken this array of strings, we turned it into a single string, and then now we're looking at each one of the things we're searching for, and we're matching that against the overall big string. And if each one of these is a match, like either, so in this case, we're checking, does that overall string contain degree, and does that overall string contain computer science? And if it does, it's a match. And then we can grab the stuff. So now we're searching for all things that have degree and computer science, and we get these. Advertising agency president. Why do they need a computer science degree? Senior manager, financial communications and other business services. And then in the requirements, a university degree. Oh, in business administration, commerce, computer science, or other discipline. Interesting. Ryan created this JSON. I think he's pulling it from various job websites. Yeah. Okay, that's all I'm going to write here. I'll talk through this. So, in this scenario, we're looking at we're looking at the specific properties that we care about on the object. But one thing you could do is at this point you have the job posting. So then you could stringify it and then match against that. So you could do something like JSON.stringify this individual job posting. So now that's going to take each of the objects in the overall array, stringify it, and then you could run your regular expression on this. Or you can do something like match on some regex, and then if it does match, do some other stuffs. You also could stringify the specific section. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but yeah. Is it more performant to use the I flag or to simply 2 lowercase and match against the string? I don't know if it matters. I guess if you're matching against a lot of stuff, then you are going to run into scenarios where some of your code might make it run faster or slower. Here's the thing I think about. So a regular expression, I would hope the way it's been implemented under the hood is that it's looking at each individual character, and if that regular expression is marked as case insensitive, it does a case insensitive match for each character that it's looking at. That's how I would imagine it's implemented under the hood. So if you do a case insensitive match, it has to do that. But if you don't do a case insensitive match, and you two lowercase it first, two lowercase would potentially need to iterate over the whole string to upper or to lowercase each of the characters. So that's like one iteration. But then while doing the match, it doesn't have to do the case insensitive comparison. So probably two lowercase is faster. I don't know. You'd have to run some benchmarks though. What's up, Shirkum? I missed you too. Thanks for being here. All right, we've talked about this for a long time, so I'm gonna stop. But that was fun. If you had fun, type 1 in chat. If you learned something, type 2 in chat. And if you're just happy to be here, type 3 in chat. Nice. I forget what numbers were what. One has had fun, and one has had fun. Cool. Appreciate you all. Cool. There's the code that I just wrote, Ryan. Actually, I mean, I'm going to push this up to GitHub anyways. It's in the AMA repo. But that was fun. Let's answer another question. Thank you to Ryan for that question. Hopefully that helped. Hopefully you know your path forward now. One computer guy asks, do I use or have a good way to start with CI/CD? GitHub Actions. It's probably the easiest way to start. I think they do have like a free tier, right? Like if you just have a basic repo, you could get it set up, but most people are using GitHub anyways, and it's integrated, so GitHub Actions would be a place to start. In terms of how to get started, read the docs, I guess. I know, like, what does GitLab have for? I mean, I don't know what to search for. GitLab CI/CD. I know they have pipelines, but I don't know if if they provide like a backend already that's gonna like run your tests and stuff like that. Because with GitHub Actions, it is like that code is running on some server that's been, or some container that has been spun up for your specific project. I mean, I have used CI/CD with GitLab, but it was very custom. Like it's calling out to some other backend infrastructure. So you do have a shared runner with free hours. Okay. Cool. So yeah, I don't have a good way to get started. I would just say start. Like try GitHub Actions because I know you can at least do that for free. And I'm sure they have like a getting started tutorial on it and stuff like that. This Costis is asking, is it ethical to include unofficial work for smaller companies in my CV? There are multiple aspects to it. I think the main thing is if you did work for some company and they paid you for it, if it wasn't in the contract that you can do whatever you want with the code, even though they paid you for it, you probably could get in trouble for posting that code somewhere. And that's if you're posting like the GitHub repo. If it's just a website you worked on or an app you worked on and you just want to link to that, I think that's okay. Again, as long as whatever company you built it for didn't have some clause in the work contract that says like you can't share this or we don't want people knowing that you worked on this, that kind of thing. So it depends. It really depends. Yeah. Hey, City. What's up, Cody-san? All right. Hopefully that answered your question. I mean, can I include as work experience? Yeah, I mean, and also, again, with that, you want to be careful because, like, if it wasn't a specific company that you worked at, but it was just, like, unofficial work on the side, then I would be careful with putting the company name on your resume because a hiring manager might want to validate your experiences and all that. So they might reach out to that company. And then if that company was like, that person never worked here. And thank you, Ryan. Thank you for the bits. You didn't have to do that. Appreciate you. Oh, there's more things I'll have to get to in a second. So yeah, you want to avoid that situation where like a company you're applying to is going to check with your former employees, but they weren't actually former employers, and they weren't actually an employer. But if it's a project and you want to just put it in your projects section, I think that's okay. But again, it really depends on the scenario that you're in. Yeah. Oh yeah, I appreciate that. How long have I been live? Yeah, I've been live for about an hour. We're going to keep going for one more hour, and then I'm going to go eat lunch. So I appreciate that, Ryan. Thanks for the lunch money. How many bits was that? Wow. Okay. Crispy Revel, thank you for the 7 months. Pranjal, thanks for the 11 months. My break was pretty good. I'm nice and refreshed. And Eddie, thank you for the 14 months. I'm checking Twitch almost every day. I'm glad you could be here, Eddie. And sorry I made you check every day, but we're back. Where to start if I want to teach my friend web dev? I mean, I would just go with any of the free online curriculums that most people recommend. So like Free Code Camp. I mean, I think the one thing you could do is say to your friend, hey, go start this thing. Like go to Free Code Camp or go to the Odin project. Yeah, so CS50 it isn't focused on web dev. You do like Python and SQL and a bunch of other stuff, and that's fine. But if they're specifically trying to learn web dev, you might start at these other places. But I recommend telling them to say, go do the thing. And then if they have questions, maybe you can have like a daily or a bi-weekly session where you sit down and they can ask you all the questions that came up when they were working on all of this stuff. So my recommendation is to like be a mentor and a guide for them. But ultimately they should try to learn themselves. Front-end Masters is great. I mean, I haven't watched a course on there in a very long time, but this is, I mean, it's called Front-end Masters, but it's kind of like the masterclass of the masterclass videos of the programming world, because you can watch courses from all the big names in JavaScript and tech and stuff like that. So it's cool. There's really high quality courses on here for sure. Yeah, and good on you for teaching your friend. And Ariel has a question. How would you set up an architecture for a streaming multimedia app just like Netflix? It's complicated. I would use an existing service, mainly because I don't want to have to write all of the transcoding and caching and everything else that would be involved with doing something like that. I don't want to write it from scratch. So there are platforms out there, basically software as a service, that will do this for you. I don't know any of the names off the top of my head, but a lot of them have like an open API. I don't know if anybody in chat knows of the ones I'm talking about. But basically, you're looking for video on demand software as a service. Let's search the web for that. VOD, SaaS. All the acronyms. 10 best video on demand platforms for 2022. Yeah, I've definitely heard of Wowza. I think I've heard of Wistia. You also could use a site like Vimeo. There's Vimeo Pro. And they basically let you lock down embeds. And so you make it so that like you can only watch this video if it's embedded on a specific domain that you set. So that would allow you to lock it down so it's not like a publicly watchable video or anything like that. But they do charge by how much you can store and everything else. But I will say I've looked into it in the past, and the amount of time you would spend trying to build and craft your own platform, the amount of time and effort and I guess money that would have to go into that, because you're kind of like paying yourself with time to build the thing, you just would save so much more by going with one of these services. And then also, like, if you look at the pricing for these services, it's comparable to like the pricing that you would pay for like Amazon S3 storage, or because with some kind of video on demand streaming infrastructure, you need storage. You need a place you're going to store these videos so that they can be downloaded and watched by your viewers. Storage costs money, so that's one of the bills you're going to be paying is storing data. You're also going to be paying a bill for how much data transfer is coming out of those servers. But if you look at some of those video on demand services, their monthly fee is usually either on par or a little bit less than what you would just be paying for like infrastructure costs. And that doesn't include your actual build and development time. Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting, Avi. So Avi says, I like how YouTube is listed. Like, technically, I mean, YouTube is one of the best and easiest because you can upload for free. You can create unlisted videos, meaning people can only watch the video if they know what the link is. Yeah, but you are limited in that you have to use the YouTube embedded player, and often like it will embed ads, and you don't have any control over that. There are various things. So that's my answer to your question. Thank you for asking. Now, that was the real answer. If this were an interview, I'd have to talk about all the things that I mentioned. Streaming and data transfer, transcoding, caching. The other thing is, like, you typically wouldn't just host a 6 or 10 gigabyte video file on some server somewhere that people are watching to download. If it's video on demand, you actually want to store the transcoded video, and typically that's stored in TS files. And, not video TS, like that's like DVD. Video transparent stream file. So basically there are transcoders that will take like a big 10 gigabyte video and break it down into individual like 1 megabyte segments. And what's nice about that is you can do on the fly transcoding. So if somebody starts watching a video at 480p, they're going to be downloading individual TS files. Yeah, they're chunks basically that are in 480p. But let's say they change the video resolution to 1080p. Now they're going to be getting chunks that are in 1080p, and that's going to save a lot on bandwidth. Because if you were to just send them the 480p file, depending on their network bandwidth, they might have already downloaded that entire 480p file before they switched to 1080p. So there's a lot of things to think about. I don't want to think about them, which is why I would use a software as a service. Thank you for your question. Okay, I've been streaming for an hour, so I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break. This is fun. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the supports. Thank you for the questions. We'll be back in 5 minutes, and I'll answer some more questions. I'll also give you another word of the day in 5 minutes, so look forward to that. I'll leave you with some music, and I'll be back soon. Hello, Chunky. Goodbye, Chunky. Well, I'll see you in a second, Chunky. Hello, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the break. I did. If you're just joining us, we are answering questions. If you go over to vox.coding.garden, you can see the questions people have asked. You can upvote existing questions, or you can ask your own. And happy Wednesday to you. Defines? Defines? Cool. If you have asked a question, type exclamation mark here in the chat and it'll bubble up if you're here. I'm going to try to answer those questions first for the people that are still sticking around. And in the meantime, I'm going to give you a Webster's Pocket Computer Dictionary from 1997 word of the day, word 2 of the day. In the chat, somebody give me a random number between 1 and 189. Or, sorry, 1 and 186. 97. All right. Now I need a random number. Well, not a random number. You give me a number. It is technically random, I guess. Between 1 and 8. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. This is a good one. IDE. Well, actually, I know of another definition. I don't know. I don't know if I've heard this definition before. So IDE, integrated drive electronics, a commonly used standard for transferring data between a computer CPU and a hard drive. See also SCSI and EID. Oh, I do know this. Yeah, the way I know it is if you're building a computer, an old computer, IDE is how you used to connect hard drives and optical drives. These days we use SATA. We don't use IDE anymore, but this is from 1997. And yes, the one I was thinking of is Integrative Development Environment, IDE. This is Webster's Computer Dictionary, and it is copyright 1997. I found it at a thrift shop a year ago or so. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, so let's look at pictures of it. IDE connection. Usually they look like this. Yeah, so that's an IDE cable. Yeah, and SCSI is SCSI. But computers don't really use this anymore, mainly because SATA is like way faster. Yeah, so SCSI looks more like a serial plug. And then what we use these days is SATA. It's real fast. Yeah. Bring back IDE. Okay, let's answer some questions. This question comes from BTRSL, and they say, how to come back after a long break. I know it's cliche, but what if you left at the point where you're half the way, you're somewhere between being a noob and feeling secure? I don't have a good answer for this. You just have to get back into the swing of things. The answer is just do it. I think what you'll notice is, like, especially if you were doing it for a while and like you were coding for a while, you were getting comfortable, and then you stopped. When you come back to it, it's probably going to take some time to get up to speed, but for most people, it's not going to take as much time as it took you to learn programming to begin with. So yeah, my answer is just jump back into it, do your best. and you'll notice that things will come easier for you, even though you might have to relearn or reacquaint yourself with a lot of different topics. So yeah. Yeah, Ryan says, I wrote my first line of code in 1999, stopped in 2003, started over again in 2021. Nice, nice. All right, this question comes from Finder the Icewing. How does one actually start with making a web app? It seems like you always start with setting up packages, which I'm very confused on. Yeah, it depends. So the modern web development ecosystem involves a lot of developer tooling, mainly because the web apps, the web, that's just it. We're building web apps. We're not just building websites anymore. Like if you're building a simple, typically what's called like a brochure app or brochure website, or just like a static content website, typically would require less like developer setup and less extra stuff that you see these days in like in web apps. But it's a good question. Again, my answer is just do it. Just start. And it varies by what you're trying to build. Because if you're just trying to build a basic website that like has some just some basic content on it, like not non-dynamic content, you don't really need all of the stuff that people use these days. Like you don't need React for that. You don't need Vue for that. You could just do some very, very basic web developments. And in fact, let's do it. We're going to build a basic website. Basic web. I guess we could call it a web app. But the terms these days are usually interchangeable, but website typically means like there's not a lot of user-specific dynamic interaction. A website is typically just presenting information, whereas a web app is something like Gmail, right? There's a lot of user interaction there, and it's like an actual application that is a website. Yeah. So let's make a basic web app. And I guess that's the other thing is like and feel free, if you're new here, if you're new to coding, we're gonna build our very first website. Now, I realize I'm using the terminal. I'm gonna stop using the terminal. We're gonna do it as if you didn't know how to use the terminal. All right, step 1: create a folder on your computer. I like to stay organized, so all of my stuff is in a folder called dev, and that just has everything inside of it. And then inside of there, create a folder. You also could put it on your desktop regardless. And then now that you have a folder, we need to open VS Code in that folder. So I use VS Code as my editing app. Let's do this. It's going to start off where I left off, but I'm just going to say open folder, and I'm going to point it to the specific folder that I just created. Now that I've done that, VS Code is ready to go. I like VS Code because it's free. There's a huge extension and plugin ecosystem, so there's all kinds of cool extensions and plugins that you can install. But if you check out code.visualstudio.com, you can download it. There are other ones. People use Sublime, Atom. What are some other ones people are using these days? I don't know. But basically, you just need a program that can edit text files, because websites and programming in general are just text files to begin with. WebStorm, yeah, some people use WebStorm. You could use Vim, yeah, but that... You'd be using the terminal. I'm trying to avoid using the terminal because you're probably a beginner. You don't even know terminal commands. Okay. We're in here. We want to create a file. Our first step is index.html. This is the actual page that we're writing. If you're using VS Code, there's a cool little shortcut. If you type exclamation mark and then hit enter, you get yourself a basic scaffolding for a web page. Let's give it a title, my awesome web page, or let's say, yeah, web page. Good to go. Now, at this point, we want to preview what we've done. I have an extension installed called Live Server. You also could just say copy path, and then you could go to Firefox or Chrome and just literally put that path in, and it's going to load that page. You don't need any sort of server or anything like that. In this case, I will use live server. So in VS Code, if you go to install extensions, search for live server. This is one of many tools that lets you just start up a local development server to serve up these files. So if I say open with live server, now you can see that we don't see the file path. There's an actual just static file server that's serving that thing up on our computer. So that's great. All right, we need some content. I'm going to make a div. And that's about it. I'm going to add some CSS. What's the end goal? Just a basic web page. Basic web page without all the extra stuff. So I need some styles because I want it to look good. I'm going to remove the margin on the body. We're going to do this thing where we set box sizing to border box. That just makes the sizing of things more predictable. And then I'm going to create a class for my box. It's going to have a width of 500 pixels and a height of 500 pixels. It's going to have a background color of green. And it's going to have a little bit of border radius, let's say 20 pixels. Now, I'm going to take this class, put it on my div here. And I made an error. I'm linking styles.css, but I called the file style.css. So I need to put an S in the name so that it'll actually work. There we go. I got a green box. So that's awesome. Now I want to center that box. So I'm going to make the body a flex box. So display flex, put it in the center, put it in the center. And I need to give it a height of the full page. So that'll be vertically centered. There we go. I guess I don't have any JavaScript yet. We'll add some JavaScript, but I've got a green box on a page, and I'm pretty proud of that. Yeah. What was the thing for the link? Oh, it's just a snippet. Basically, I believe it's built into VS Code, but I wanted this. I wanted to link a style sheet, and I don't remember all the attributes and everything. So if I type link and then press tab, that inserts that. Yeah. Just casually centering a div like it's not magic. I mean, that's all you need to center stuff these days. I mean, technically, I could have done something like this. Margin 0 auto. That would have given me horizontal centering. But then to get vertical centering is really tricky, which is why we just use Flexbox, so we don't have to do that. Yeah, good calls, Adam. All those snippets I'm using, so like that very first one with the exclamation mark, that's Emmet. The link is also Emmet. So yeah. Display grid place item center, that would work too. I think that's it. Let's add some JavaScript and then we're done with our basic web page. So let's add in we'll call it app.js. What do we want to do? Oh, I guess that could work. A calculated margin top. And I guess that's why it's easy, because we know the size of the box. If we didn't know the size of the box, it would be a lot harder to vertically center. Yeah. Did I read your highlighted messages? No, I didn't, Pablo. Let's wait, did I get rid of my search box? Well, I'll find it. I'll scroll till I see a highlighted message. Here it is, from Pablo. 25 minutes ago. Sorry about that. By the way, I'm writing a drop-in reactive JS library to have some bit of reactivity without the need of a bundler, etc. I would love for you to try it out whenever it's ready. Sure. And by reactive, do you mean like reactive state in Vue.js, that kind of thing? Cool. Oh, display chat? That could be interesting. Let's do that. Yeah, because that should be easy enough. We're gonna put chat in the box. We're gonna put chat in the box. So for that, we're going to use an external library. Now I know, like, I realize I'm not really even answering your question here. I'm just building a basic web page without all the extra packages and stuff like that. This thing, TMI.js, that I'm about to add is technically a library. It's a package that we're going to add. But what's nice is this allows us to integrate with Twitch chat. That's pretty cool, Pablo. Did you know that you can use Vue's reactivity system without using Vue? You can literally just import reactive and import ref and use it pretty much anywhere, even outside of a Vue app. Okay. Like I said, we're going to add this library, and that's going to let us listen to Twitch chat. So I'm going to first copy this code, paste it in. I'm going to change the code right here because I want to listen for Twitch chat in the Coding Garden channel. And then we actually need to add TMI.js. So I'm going to go to GitHub. I'm going to grab this JavaScript and I'm going to put it in here. So now that I have some JavaScript here, I can add it to the page. So similar to how I added that CSS, let's add a script. I think I installed something that's got a bunch of extra snippets that I don't like, but regardless, I need to pull in that TMI.js thing, and then I also need to pull in the app.js. But just like that, because I brought in TMI and because I brought in my specific JavaScript file, now we should see any chat message in the console. Like that. This stream's content will be available on Twitch immediately. Twitch.tv/codinggarden here. If you go here, you'll be able to watch this stream for the next 60 days. And I'm hoping that I can actually get caught up on all the streams that haven't gotten uploaded to YouTube yet. But in the meantime, you can watch this stream there specifically. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, the issue with automating the upload to YouTube is I need to do like editing, like only slight editing, because I want to pull out the first 16 minutes of just like wait time. And then I may not always want the video to go directly to YouTube. Cool, but we're getting the chat. Now we actually want to put it on the page, because what we were just looking at is the JavaScript console. This lets us kind of debug and see what's happening in our code. But now we want to take it, put it on the page. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give this box an ID of the box. And then we're going to write some code that puts chat messages into the box. So first, I need a JavaScript variable that references this specific box. So I'm going to do this, the box. We're going to say document.querySelector. We're going to say, give me the element on the page that has ID the box. So now this variable is a reference to this element on the page. Great. And now whenever we get a message, we'll just say text content will append the user's message with, let's say, like a new line in front of it. Like that. And then let's add a little bit of styles. So I'm going to give this a font family of sans serif. And then the color inside the box is going to be white. Okay. Now, any messages that come into chat just get appended to the box. Yeah. Cool. I mean, there are cooler things we could do with this, but it's just an example. And Cody's on, I'll answer this question, is saying, when they say backend, what are they referring to? So all of the code that we're writing right now is running inside the user's web browser. So we have 3 files, right? We have our HTML, which has the stuff the user sees. We have the CSS, which modifies the style. We did some centering. We've got some color and sizing. And then we've got this JavaScript that is listening for Twitch chats and then dynamically updating the page once it's gotten Twitch chats. The thing to note about all of this is when someone goes to this website, they are actually downloading all of these files. Their web browser is going to download the HTML. It's going to download the JavaScript. It's going to download the CSS. It's going to download that TMI.js. All of that gets downloaded to the user's web browser, and then the page comes alive and starts working. This is front-end development. Like the things that we're building are making it to an end user, and they're able to actually like use our website. And the interesting thing is, like, it is, they literally have all of our code in their web browser now. Like, I can look at the source of this web page, and I can literally see, well, this is extra because I have like an auto refreshing thing, but I can literally see, look, there's that div. There are those JavaScript files. I can click here and I can actually see the content of that. So this is front-end development. And actually, let me deploy this site really quick. And by deploy, I mean put it on the internet so that you can use it too. Twitch green box. So now that I've deployed this, anyone can go to this web page. But like I mentioned, when they go to that web page, they are literally downloading the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript, and it's running inside of the web browser. Surge is a free way to deploy websites. Check it out. It's very similar to like Netlify drop and stuff like that. So this is front-end development. Your web browser is going to download all of my front-end code before it can actually run it, and then you actually have access to all of my front-end code. So like if you're on Windows, press, I think, Control-U. On a Mac, it's Command-U, but that will let you look at the source of the web page, and then you can actually click on these files and see the actual code that I wrote. The other thing you can do is right-click Inspect, and there's some various things to look at the code. Okay, but this is front-end development. Now, to differentiate that from back-end development typically exposes some sort of web API. So the code you write on the back end doesn't get shipped to the end user. It can do things like access file systems, it can access databases, it can make requests out to other various places. But that's what back-end development is. Like if something was written as back-end, I would not be able to just look at the source code and look at the code in my web browser. And it typically does all the things that require some sort of privilege that you wouldn't want just running inside of a user's web browser. Oh, did I do the wrong line break? Yeah, I did the wrong line break. All right, let's redeploy. Yeah, like database access. But if you think about like a complex application with like users and stuff like that, once you're doing backend development, the incoming request to your backend server can determine does the user have access to a specific thing, right? So like when I go to twitch.tv, I can see all of my followers, or sorry, I can see all the channels that I'm following. I can see all of the messages and DMs that have been sent to me, and those are specific to me, right? When you log in, you see your own specific stuff. All of that is handled on the backend. So the front-end website loads, and then it makes a request to the backend that says, hey, I am this specific user. Please give me my followers. Please give me my messages, all that good stuff. So when we say backend, we mean the other piece of this that has more complexity that you can't actually see into like you can. Did I do the wrong /in again? Oh yeah, you're totally right. Because I'm using text content. Isn't it this one? No, I have the right one. I have the right one. You know what the issue is? We need how to handle white space. Or is it white space? What is the there's a CSS property for it. Basically right now, break word? No, it's not break word. You know how we can see it? If we do a pre-tag. White space pre. That's what I want. That's what I want. Because a pre-tag, what do you call it? It will render new lines and such. Because I don't necessarily want like word wrap. I just want if the text contains new lines, render that, because you'll see that when we don't render that, then it's just all there. But then this is the other thing here. So I'm writing this code. It's all on my machine. If I actually want to deploy it for you to see, I have to run that command. Because right now, if you went to this website, you're seeing an old version. So I need to redeploy it. But we do want word wrap. Break word. I think. Because we have like this. I also want overflow hidden. Word break? Break all? Overflow wrap anywhere. Is this a thing? One of these properties is gonna work. I don't know how to do. How do I wrap that? Word wrap break word. That's what I have. Go to the next line true. Right? Whitespace pre is preventing word wrapping. So how do we acknowledge the white space but still wrap the words? There's got to be a way, right? Word break. I had that. Oh well. I'm gonna leave it as is. I'll deploy it one more time, and then I'm gonna answer like one or two more questions, and then I gotta go. And what's up, or couldn't? I'm here. Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm back. Cool. So if you want to see Coding Garden chat in a big green box, you can go to this webpage. Cool. Let's answer one or two more questions, then I'll go. Yups TV is saying, what's your opinion about therapy for programmers? Do you think it's important to do? I do not have a therapist. I do not see a therapist. However, there are people in my life that do, and it seems to help them. I think in general, like, just as a human, not as a programmer, like if it can help to have someone to talk through your problems, talk through your life, to vent to. So I think for people that want it, and people, not programmers, yeah, I think it's great. I could probably benefit from a therapist. I'm doing all right without one, though. yes, Swifty Spiffy. Coding Garden chat in a big green box is exactly what I was looking for. I only code the best things here on the Coding Garden. Hey, Revive Newt, what's up? Yeah, I am getting ready to leave. Sorry about that, and actually, I won't be live on Friday. Like, I'm not going back to the normal schedule. It's gonna be a couple of weeks before things are somewhat back to normal. But there are big things in the works. I mentioned it before I left. I'll mention it again. It's still ominous, but there are big things in the works. And Mr. Alec TV, thank you for that Prime sub as well. I reached out to Doc. I sent him an email. I sent him a message on Discord. I have not heard from him. I don't know what happened to Doc. His Discord account still seems to be active. I haven't checked his Twitch account, but I am kind of worried. I'm worried about Doc. If you see this, Doc, please just send me a message. Let me know you're okay. I'll answer this one. Do I have a degree? I do. I have a computer science degree. And I taught myself web development. So in my degree, I mainly did like lower level programming stuff like C, C++, some like systems programming and data structures and algorithms and stuff like that. And then I got my first job was doing C#.NET desktop applications for Windows. And while I was working that job, I started to teach myself JavaScript and web stuff in my spare time. And now I do pretty much just that. All right, let's see if there's anything else I can answer. Namaste Geek says, I'm finishing a college program in web dev and I want to figure out where my skill gaps are. What do you recommend? Projects, probably. Yeah, I don't have any specific projects, but I think that's a good line of thinking. Like, basically, if there's something that you... pick something that you think you should be able to build given your current knowledge. So given everything you've learned and everything you've done, try to build something from scratch. And as you do that, you're going to find your gaps. You're going to find the areas where you're not as strong or areas that you maybe thought you were good in that you weren't. I mean, I think that goes for anything. Really, anyone that wants to test your skills, do some sort of project. Yeah. And Adam is asking, have I ever used Linux instead of Mac? I'm thinking of transitioning from Linux to Mac for web dev. Yeah, I mean, when I was in university, I mainly used Ubuntu Linux. But I like my Mac. So I'm using a MacBook Pro from 2015. It's the last of the MacBooks with full-size USB ports and a full-size HDMI port. You can find the mid to late 2015 MacBook Pro on eBay for like $400. Pretty soon, I'm actually just going to go on eBay and find some that are in really good condition. Like, if you want one in really, really good condition, you could probably find it for like $600 or so. But that's insane. Like, this laptop is... It's 7 years. This laptop is 7 years old, and it's still amazing. I use it for I use it for making music. I use it for editing videos. I use it for programming, and it's great. So I'm gonna keep using this until it stops working. Really, until applications stop working, because eventually, all the apps I use for like music production and stuff like that, they won't support older versions of Mac. But this Mac supports all the way up to at least Monterey. So yeah, I have used Linux. I'm using a Mac now. Macs are great. Macs are great. All right, let's see if there's any other quick questions I can answer. Is it possible to use Apple Pay through web on a mobile browser? I have no idea. I would just type this into Google to find out. Have I tried Flutter? I've done like the basic Flutter tutorial and then did some basic stuff just to test Flutter out. But I'm mostly web dev. But I've also done like React Native and then some other hybrid mobile stuff like Ionic. Do I listen to podcasts while working on your van and house, etc.? This is the last question I'm going to answer, and then I got to go. I do. So my favorite podcast is Darknet Diaries. It's all about hacking and social engineering and penetration testing and stuff like that. And the host, Jack Resider, is awesome. He has some of the coolest guests, and it is so entertaining. For instance, if they bring on like a social engineer or a penetration tester, like a physical penetration tester, people tell stories about how they were specifically hired. So if you're not familiar with like the security industry, people will actually get hired. So companies will hire people to break into their company, like to physically break into their company, and then also to try and hack them and break in that way. But they hire those people so that they can find the flaws in their security and fix them. And so some of the guests will come on and just tell their stories of how they had to like get past security and different stuff like that. And then there's also like actual like hacking stories of hacks that have happened. But this is great. I listen to it all the time. I also listen to Radiolab, which is from WNYC and NPR. Though I will say, is this it? I've never been to Radiolab.org. I feel like they got or maybe I have, and they got a new website. And Terry Twitch, thank you for that Prime sub. But these are just super entertaining episodes. I will say that the main hosts of the show aren't really there anymore, and so the new hosts will often play old episodes and then kind of like commentate over them, which is fine because the old episodes are still so entertaining. Connects.js got a new website? Whoa! Nice. And they have a guide? I mean, it looks kind of the same with just a little bit different theming. I like the theme. Cool. Yeah, so I listen to Radiolab. I also listen to This American Life. A lot of the like NPR podcasts. I think this is an NPR podcast. And I don't really listen to it as much anymore, but for a while I was listening to Syntax, which is the podcast. So all of those I was talking about are not really dev podcasts. Syntax is a web dev podcast, and general development podcast with Wes Boss and Scott Talinsky. It's awesome. Let me just look at my list of podcast subscriptions. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really listen to him anymore, but JavaScript Jabber is a great podcast. If it's still going, I used to listen to this all the time. They almost always have big names in the world of JavaScript come onto the show to talk about stuff. Like, I mean, this is an episode on TC39, so they might have actually had somebody from the committee on there. And then this whole family of podcasts, there's a bunch of podcasts from the same creator. How do I find that? Dev Chat TV. Charles Maxwood. He was the original host of JavaScript Jabber. I don't know. I don't know if he's still the host. I don't know why I can't find it, but there are all these podcasts. So JavaScript Jabber, My JavaScript Story, Ruby Rogues, Adventure in Angular, the Freelancer Show. They do all of these podcasts, and all of those are worth checking out as well. Cool. I'll recommend one that doesn't have new episodes coming out, but it's one I listened to all the episodes a while back. Hello, Nico Writes Code. Thanks for being here. I haven't seen you in a while either because I haven't been here. Thanks for being here. This Developer's Life by Scott Hanselman, who's big in the .NET world. And so this is in the style of This American Life, but he interviews and talks about developers. So it's like developer stories. And as you can see, there's only a certain number of episodes because he stopped making them, but there's still some goodies in there. Okay, how do you listen to Darknet Diaries? Wherever you get your podcasts, which is what the podcast hosts always say. I use an app called Podcast Addict for Android. .NET is a framework for writing applications. You typically can write web APIs, you can write desktop apps, and typically you use the programming language C#, though there are other languages that work with .NET. I use this app, Podcast Addict, but there are a million and one other ones, whatever works. I think you can listen on their site, but I would just get a podcasting app because it keeps track of which episode you're on and what the time code in the episode that you're on, and you can also download them for listening to later. Let's see if we can actually listen on here. Episodes. Listen now. You just click two buttons. Am I missing something? Yeah. So I mean, maybe if you're on mobile, So if you're on mobile, you are gonna have to click this, go to episodes, and then you should be able to click an individual one. I haven't listened to Hot Swaps Left yet. I think I just finished listening, or I'm at the end of this episode. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. You could use Spotify to listen to podcasts. It'll keep track of your stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Thank you all for hanging out with me on this return stream. It's been great. I appreciate seeing all your smiling faces and names in the chat. Like I said, I'm not going to be streaming Friday, but I will be streaming at some point the following week. And eventually we're going to get back to a regular schedule, and we're going to get back to big things, which I'll announce eventually. Big things. All right, stick around for the raid. Does this command still work? Let's see if this raid message works. Oh, I totally forgot. We have a new raid emote. My emote designer is working on another one because you can sort of see the word raid. We're working on a better one where you can see the word raid better. But feel free to use that if you're a sub, and if you're not a sub, you can use this raid message or come up with your own raid message. Yeah. And see you later, Revive Newt. Thanks for being here. Be well, everyone. Stay awesome. Yeah. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.